Good evening. It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you today for the Gandhi Katha, a narration of stories of Mahatma Gandhi with Dr. Shobana Radhakrishna. This is part of the events we are celebrating to mark the conclusion of the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi on October 2nd. Mahatma Gandhi is a global icon, revered across continents. His message and teachings of universal peace, truth, non-violence, communal harmony, and service to humanity is of great significance in today's world. Dr. Shobana Radhakrishna is an acclaimed international speaker on the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi. In the narration today, Dr. Shobana Radhakrishna will share the philosophy and teachings of Mahatma Gandhi's life. She will also highlight Mahatma Gandhi's practices for wellness of body, mind, and spirit, for coping up and staying safe physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually during the current pandemic. I also take this opportunity to invite all of you to join us for the virtual celebrations of Gandhi Jayanti on coming Friday on October 2nd. We will be live streaming two events, one in the morning from the Gandhi statue at Herman Park, Houston at 9:30 a.m. and the second one in the evening at 5 p.m. from Gandhi Memorial Plaza in Irving, Texas. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Consul General Shri Aseem Mahajanji, for your kind message and support. Namaskar and welcome to the Gandhi Katha, story of Mahatma Gandhi, narrated by me during the commemoration of the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, which incidentally is also the 150th birth anniversary of Kasturba Gandhi, his wife. I express my gratitude to the Consulate General of India in Houston for hosting the Gandhi Katha amidst these challenging times to learn from Gandhiji's philosophy of truth, non-violence, and purity of means, his spirituality, his environmental credo, and his practices of health and wellness of body, mind, and spirit for coping up and staying safe physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually during and after the coronavirus COVID 19 pandemic, which has affected the entire humanity. On October 2nd, the world celebrates the UN International Day of Nonviolence, and in India, we celebrate Mahatma Gandhi's birth anniversary as Gandhi Jayanti. The entire world is remembering Mahatma Gandhi, the apostle of peace and nonviolence. We have an opportunity to remind the humanity of the efficacy of the messages of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of our nation. I pay my respects to the leading lights of USA and convey my warm wishes to the people of Houston, Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, and Nebraska who have joined me online today. We stand in solidarity with you, all of you, in our common fight against the pandemic. I've heard about the Eternal Gandhi Museum, which is an exciting new initiative of Houston's Mahatma Gandhi Library. It is a digital multimedia museum. And in Houston, there is a Mahatma Gandhi district as well. Gandhiji used to begin and end his days with prayers. These were prayers from all the religions of the world, Sarva Dharma Prarthana. Gandhiji's internal core comprised of the essence of all the religions, one that he had acquired from long study and reflection. The devotional poetry of the saint poets that he had heard, sung, and absorbed since childhood made up a significant part of the life of his soul. He said that ultimately all the religions point to the same truth of compassion, love, forgiveness, and tolerance, and that everyone must study the essence of all the religions in an attitude of perfect reverence and have friendship and respect for the practitioners of different religions and diverse cultures. The ancient scripture Rig Veda confirms it, saying, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. There is only one truth, and learned persons call it by many names. This verse is reminding us that there are many paths that lead to God. We will begin with the Sanskrit prayer Asatoma Sadgamaya. which asks God to lead us from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. This prayer during these challenging times of coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is for the well-being and safety of everyone to live in harmony with Mother Nature. May all of you be healthy and happy. Gandhi Katha is based on the ancient Indian oral tradition of Katha or storytelling with hymns and narration. I have given talks on Gandhi Katha in 98 countries during the commemoration of the 150th birth anniversary of Gandhiji in the past 2 years. In all the countries, people have great reverence and respect for Mahatma Gandhi. Many have been inspired by him to take up the cudgels against injustice through nonviolence. Others have followed his environmental credo, and still others have been deeply touched by his simple spiritual life. The humanism of the world's thought leaders are so deeply reflected in Mahatma Gandhi's teachings. The new generation is eager to understand more about the greatest man of the last century who made such a huge impact on humanity and inspired many world leaders. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. was greatly influenced by Gandhiji and used the same principles to obtain civil rights for blacks in America. He had said, and I quote, "If humanity is to progress, Gandhi is inescapable." Christ furnished the spirit and motivation, while Mahatma Gandhi furnished the method. Through our pain, we will make them see their injustice. One of the many people whose lives were influenced by Mahatma Gandhi's example was the social justice advocate and the American civil rights activist Cesar Chavez, who was one of the 20th century's most admired opponent of socio-economic, racial, gender, and anti-immigrant discrimination. From a very early age, Chavez found inspiration and guidance in the writings of Gandhiji, and later in life was able to adapt Mahatma Gandhi's principles of nonviolence and civil disobedience to the context of the struggle for farm workers' rights in the USA. Dr. Gene Sharp, American political scientist, writer, and founder of the Albert Einstein Institution, drew ideas and inspiration from the thinking and life of Mahatma Gandhi. He said, and I quote, "Gandhi also exhibited a remarkable sense of political strategy in his implementation of nonviolence on a mass scale. His approach to nonviolence was based on the moral principle of refusing to use violence against opponents. Even after 7 decades have gone by since Gandhiji passed on, in every part of the world, his relevance is felt as strongly as ever before, and his visions and actions are of an enduring significance for all times and places. His approach to life was holistic and cannot be divided into watertight compartments of social, religious, political, public, or personal life. Gandhiji stands out as the champion not only of political democracy but also of economic and spiritual democracy in today's world. Gandhiji believed that moral degeneration is the root cause of all evils, including conflicts. This explains his lifelong crusade of attainment of moral values such as truthfulness, nonviolence, purity of means, love, respect, self control, forgiveness, friendliness, compassion, mercy, and so on. For Gandhiji, the principle of satyagraha or nonviolent resistance and civil disobedience was by non cooperation with evil through the moral values of love force, truth force, soul force, sacrifice, and self suffering. For him, the consideration for the sufferings of fellow human beings was paramount. His belief and actions that social change for establishing justice and dignity of humans is both less harmful and more sustainable when achieved by nonviolent means is relevant for all times. His legacy of Satyagraha is widely recognized and practiced the world over and seen in many movements for civil rights even till today. Mahatma Gandhi's environmental practices were based on conservation of natural resources, which were often misused and overused for the sake of development. Gandhiji had warned about the unsustainability on the global scale, that greed will be the main reason for the environmental degradation and the ecological crisis he had predicted a century ago. Gandhiji was the first environmentalist much before the entire world was preoccupied by concerns of environment and ecology, and with his stunning premonition and knowledge, he had declared that the earth has enough for man's needs, but not for man's greed. He had also said the earth, the air, the land, and the water are not an inheritance from our forefathers, but on loan from our children. So we have to hand it over to them as it was handed over to us. Equality for women within the society was a principle Gandhiji passionately believed in. His vision of Sarvodaya, the welfare of all, becomes very relevant in the crisis of internally displaced people and migrants, and it may well have been keeping in mind the very basic unit of human organization, a village or a county. His vision of Gram Swaraj, which is a self reliant, independent, self governed village, is built on the premises of sustainable growth, which is the need of the hour. According to my understanding, Mahatma Gandhi's life was an epic of faith and endeavor. His faith was in truth, the ultimate reality of truth, and he endeavored to attain it through nonviolence throughout his life till the very last breath. Gandhiji's adherence to truth, non-violence, and purity of means has inspired me to give Gandhi Katha so that people can put their hearts into understanding Gandhiji, get inspired to learn from his extraordinary ethical and moral leadership, his simple spiritual life, revolutionary thoughts, actions, his lifelong service to humanity against all forms of injustice, and how he continues to inspire people in all the parts of the globe at all times and in all ages. Perhaps the greatest source of strength for Mahatma Gandhi was in his faith in God. Truth was the deepest and the most complete form of God. The faith gave him the constant awareness that he was to be nothing but an instrument in his hands. He was to go wherever he was led. For him, the guidance of God constituted two things. One, he had to walk on the path enlightened by truth that was available to him in whatever measures and form. Two, he had to constantly gaze inwards and find inspiration through self introspection, self examination, and self purification. And this he did by repeated questioning. And that question was, Ko aham, who am I? What am I? And what is the real purpose of my life? This question has been asked in our ancient Indian civilization since the past 5,000 years. The answer came to Gandhiji that the purpose of life was to serve others. The deeper the faith, the greater was the endeavor for Gandhiji. He said, Truth is God. Faith in truth led Mahatma Gandhi to two other realizations. If God is omnipresent, then truth is omnipresent too. If each human being were an aspect of God, then each person is capable of truth, of being good and doing good to others. The second realization was that in spite of all the upheavals in the history of humankind, humanity will only progress in an auspicious direction because truth, that is God, is only interested in the welfare of its creation. His endeavor throughout his life was devoted to the search of that element of truth, to awaken it and to nurture it. This is why he could feel oneness with everyone. For most of us, this realization does not set in easily. Because of this understanding of oneness, Gandhiji had no enemies. He did not want to settle scores with anyone, and he did not want to take any revenge. He merely wanted to extend his love, compassion, and respect to everyone. That was one of his traits. He respected individuals as individuals, and that is another trait that we see in Gandhiji. Romeo Rolla, the French writer and pacifist who won the Nobel Prize for Literature, had written Gandhiji's biography in 1924, which introduced him to the world. And when he met him in 1931, he said, and I quote, This little man is so fragile in appearance, is tireless, and fatigue is a word that does not exist in his vocabulary. He could calmly answer for hours without a muscle of face twitching. His mind proceeds through successive experiments into action, and he follows a straight line, but he never stops. I will play the Gandhi Katha hymn or dhun in Hindi that elaborates on Gandhiji's definition of truth as having harmony between thoughts, words, and deeds.
मन वाणी कर्म में सत्य ही तुझको मन वाणी कर्म में सत्य ही तुझको जीवन में मंगल के द्वार दे तुझको जीवन में मंगल के द्वार दे तुझको ज्ञान कर्म भक्ति का हो सम्यक विधान ज्ञान कर्म भक्ति का हो सम्यक विधान सत्य शिव सुंदर का सुमधुर गान सत्य शिव सुंदर का सुमधुर गान मन वाणी कर्म में सत्य ही तू बोल मन वाणी कर्म में सत्य ही तू बोल जीवन में मंगल के द्वार दे तू बोल जीवन में मंगल के द्वार दे तू बोल ज्ञान कर्म भक्ति का हो सम्यक विधान ज्ञान कर्म भक्ति का हो सम्यक विधान सत्य शिव सुंदर का सुमधुर गान सत्य शिव सुंदर का सुमधुर गान
Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy was primarily truth centered. Truth was the first and foremost principle in Gandhian philosophy. Gandhiji's life was a continuous series of experiments with truth, and that is the name of his autobiography also, which the title is My Experiments with Truth. He applied his philosophy to his own life through selfless service and to practical social and political service through his non-violent civil disobedience campaigns, which he termed as Satyagraha. This is his first gift to humanity. To understand Gandhiji's thought and philosophy, one must understand him as a whole and not in parts. His thoughts on religion, education, economics, health, society, politics, Literature and culture, and in many other areas, need to be studied, understood, and adopted according to the context. His life is filled with many kinds of challenges, solutions, and achievements. He used truth as an experiment, not only in politics, but in his personal life too. Another aspect that gave him strength was the clarity that he had acquired from years of experiments and reflection on the philosophical content of Satyagraha. He was clear that Satyagraha was based on the principle of Advaita, of non duality. If the same essence of soul encompasses all human beings, it would allow a Satyagrahi to become one with the oppressor. Any failure to touch and reach out to the opponent would be a failure of Satyagrahi and not a shortcoming of the philosophy of Satyagraha. Moreover, with the experience that he had had over the years, he had begun to see love as a very powerful and positive force. The challenge before him was to use this force with effect. The bigger the challenge, the more enthused Gandhiji was by it. Gandhiji realized that untruth, injustice, oppression, and tyranny last only as long as their victims accept them. The moment one learns to say no to untruth and injustice, their edifice collapses immediately. This was true for the political, the economic, and the social order. Mahatma Gandhi is the greatest apostle of peace the world has seen in the recent past. His notion of peace is focused on tolerance, love, forgiveness, compassion, oneness, truth force, love force, and soul force. Albert Einstein, the greatest scientist of the first half of the 20th century, had called Mahatma Gandhi as the supreme practical leader for change. And he had said, and I quote, I believe that Gandhi's views were the most enlightened of all the political men in our times. We should strive to do things in his spirit, not to use violence in fighting for our cause, but by non participation in anything you believe in is evil. Gandhiji was the conscience keeper of humanity. That his ideas will be an inspiration to us both as individuals and as a society is beyond any doubt. He was an epoch maker, one who could sow the seeds for the next generation from the fruits of the previous one. Mahatma Gandhi is the most powerful visionary and a practical idealist from the first half of the last century, whose life is a role model for all of us. But the effort has to begin from the point where you are standing. That is what made all Mahatma Gandhi's idealist actions practical, and he can be truly called a man of action. But it does not only mean that he was very busy, that of course he was very busy. What we mean is the action of putting ideas or beliefs into practice more than anything else was the driving force in his life. The answer for Mahatma Gandhi was always found in action. He had said, an ounce of practice is worth more than tons of preaching. Mahatma Gandhi has made significant and seminal contributions that span across such disciplines as economics, spirituality, conflict resolution, international peace, civil rights, education, politics, and much more. At that time, the most harmful and destructive impact on the world was that of imperialism, violence, war, materialism, and the greed for controlling the world. Mahatma Gandhi has advised to shun these 7 social sins in his speech on October 22nd, 1925. Politics without principle, wealth without work, commerce without ethics, knowledge without character, pleasure without conscience, science without morality, worship without sacrifice. In my opinion, Mahatma Gandhi's life left the most powerful and strong imprint on the humanity of the world. He had said, my life is my message, and that life is so transparent and open that anyone can learn from him. John Haynes Holmes was a pacifist, anti war activist, and the founder of American Civil Liberties Union. He had met Gandhiji and found Gandhiji's presence, those bright eyes shining through his spectacles, his voice so clear and yet so gentle, his whole presence so simple and yet so strong. I believe that he has unquestionably the greatest man living in the world today, he had said. And he said, when I think of Gandhi, I think of Jesus Christ. I will play the Gandhi Katha Dhun in Hindi, the hymn about Gandhi's philosophy of truth, non-violence, purity of means that combined in the form of satyagraha.
लागी रे लगन सत्य अहिंसा में मन मेरा मगन सत्य अहिंसा में मन मेरा मगन लागी रे लगन सत्य अहिंसा में मन मेरा मगन सत्य अहिंसा में मन मेरा मगन अहिंसा से सत्याग्रह सीखा सत्य अहिंसा से सत्याग्रह सीखा सर्व प्रकार के भय का मोचन सर्व प्रकार के भय का मोचन सत्य अहिंसा में मन मेरा मगन लागी रे लगन सत्य अहिंसा में मन मेरा मगन सत्य अहिंसा में मन मेरा मगन।
Time magazine had listed out 3 most important protests over 190 years. The first one was Boston Tea Party. The second one was Dandi March or Salt Satyagraha. And the third one was the March of Washington. We can see a common thread. The first and second were against the same company, the East India Company. There is a common thread of non-violence in all the three. In 1930, with a pinch of salt, Mahatma Gandhi shook the world. He started out on 12th March from his Sabarmati ashram in Ahmedabad in Gujarat for Dandi with 79 fellow marchers, walked for 24 days, walking 10 miles a day, stopped at 48 villages, gave innumerable speeches, and the total distance he covered was 241 miles till he reached Dandi seashore on 5th April. In the early hours of the morning on 6th April, when he picked up a fistful of muddy lump of earth with salt, 100,000 people joined him, and towards the end of the campaign, 300,000 people broke the salt law all over India. 1,362 newspapers covered the news. William Lawrence Shearer, the American journalist, was present there and gave his graphic reporting of the salt satyagraha and brought the incidents to the notice of the world. So Gandhiji remains the most powerful global brand ambassador of peace and non-violence, a youth icon for resisting injustice, a man whose values can make the world a better place today. In 1904, in South Africa, after reading John Ruskin's book, Unto This Last, Barrister Mohandas Gandhi transformed his life and started leading a community life of self-control, voluntary poverty, and bread labor. He established 4 ashrams in his lifetime, 2 in South Africa, called Phoenix Settlement in 1904, and Tolstoy Farm in 1910, and 2 ashrams in India, Sabarmati Ashram in Ahmedabad in Gujarat in 1917, and the Sevagram Ashram in Wardha, Maharashtra in 1936. In Sevagram Ashram, Kasturba Gandhi and Mahatma Gandhi lived in poverty like the common villagers of India, and all the ashram community also lived like them. This was his ideal of a non-violent face-to-face society for Sarvodaya, the welfare of all, and carrying out constructive programs, which is his second gift to humanity. Gandhiji's ashrams had a mingling of political and spiritual aims. It was a practical laboratory for transforming ordinary men and women into extraordinary satyagrahis and seekers for offering the highest sacrifice of their lives in the freedom struggle on one hand, and to get involved in constructive programs to serve the poorest of the poor by establishing their self-respect and dignity. I am happy to inform you that I was born in his last ashram, the Sevagram ashram. My father was inspired by Gandhiji since his childhood and joined the non-violent freedom struggle and lived in the Sevagram ashram. The life and thoughts of Mahatma Gandhi are intertwined and inseparable. His politics was imbued with his spiritual experiments, and his spirituality was tempered by his vision of a non-violent society, and his constructive work was integral to his politics. The unique practices of Mahatma Gandhi, his control of palate, his fasts, his spinning, his silence, and his prayers, gave him the internal strength which were as much a part of his politics as of his spiritual life. These practices and experiments were sustained and nurtured by the inmates of the ashram community that he had founded. The ashram community, through its own practices, affirmed, modified, and validated Mahatma Gandhi's ideals and practices and continues to do so even till today. This shows the relevance of his practices. Gandhiji carried out his experiments in health and wellness through nature cure, diet control, hydrotherapy, sunbath, mud packs, and observing silence for one whole day. The ashram inmates participated in this willingly. Gandhiji has given three gifts to humanity. The first one is Satyagraha, the second one is constructive programs, and the third one is Ekadasha Vrata or the 11 observances, which were a set of rules for the ashram inmates for spiritual progress and voluntary self-control. Ivan Illich, the Croatian-Austrian philosopher, had come to Sevagram ashram in 1980 and he stayed there for 1 week. Every day he used to sit in Bapu Kuti or the cottage where Mahatma Gandhi lived. It was a very simple structure made from locally available material. And Ivan Illich said, and I quote, "This hut of Mahatma Gandhi demonstrates to the world how the dignity of the common man can be brought up. It is also a symbol of happiness, which we can derive from practicing the principles of simplicity, service, and truthfulness." Now I will play the Gandhi Katha hymn, which explains Gandhiji's philosophy of truth is God.
आँखें पवित्र राख सत्य ही तू बोल, आँखें पवित्र राख सत्य ही तू बोल, ईश्वर साक्षात होंगे अंतर टटोल, ईश्वर साक्षात होंगे अंतर टटोल, सत्य ही है परमेश्वर बापू का बोल, सत्य ही है परमेश्वर बापू का बोल, उसी परमेश्वर की नित्य कर तू शोध, उसी परमेश्वर की नित्य कर तू शोध, आँखें पवित्र राख सत्य ही तू बोल, आँखें पवित्र राख सत्य ही तू बोल, ईश्वर साक्षात होंगे अंतर टटोल, ईश्वर साक्षात होंगे अंतर टटोल, ईश्वर साक्षात होंगे अंतर टटोल।
Though Gandhiji's role and contribution to the political arena are well known, what is less known is his contribution towards health and well-being. Gandhiji was a firm believer in the principle that a healthy mind keeps the body healthy, and he stressed the importance of a healthy lifestyle and positive thinking. His interest in health, hygiene, nutrition, and diseases was as great as his interest in politics. He insisted that adopting preventive measures for diseases was better than treatment. He also said that it was important to focus on cleanliness, a controlled diet, and an exercise regimen, and that it was best to avoid overconsumption of medicines, especially those that were not required. He was also a firm believer of nature cure and conducted experiments related to diet and fasting. He always believed that it was important to understand what caused diseases and then remove that very cause rather than falling ill again and again and then attempting to treat it with excessive medication. Gandhiji was essentially a man of science. He approached problems in a scientific manner. Mahatma Gandhi's message to the world on the vital question of health and well being is very important. To him, the study of this question was part of the service to God and His creation, which was His mission. Knowing to care summed up His life. His message was simple and easy to follow. It encouraged everyone to respect simplicity, voluntary self control, reduce the wants, follow the tradition, cultural practices, the values, the environmental credo, and treat oneself through nature cure for living in harmony with nature. Gandhiji was very interested in health and wellness and remained ever vigilant about his own health as well as of others. He said that our lifestyle should be such that it should not let any disease come anywhere near us, and every person is responsible for looking after his or her body, mind, and spirit impeccably. He advised that in order for keeping physically, mentally, and spiritually healthy, we should have perfect understanding of our bodies, which is made up of the five elements that are found in nature. And that is what has been told by our ancient seers and sages in India. And these five elements are air, water, fire, earth, and space. For the wellness of our bodies, the balance and harmony between all these five elements is necessary. During the COVID-19 pandemic, enveloping ourselves in the rhythms and forms of nature can be transformative and healing. Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition of India, recommends spending time in nature each day. Doing so allows us to experience the wonderment of this existence with all our senses. Nature allows us to shift our attention beyond the domain of our ego and to recognize that we are all inextricably connected to the universe. From the mind body perspective, Mahatma Gandhi's standpoint was that health is an optimal integration of body, mind, soul, and the environment. Environment is our extended body. Yoga and meditation integrate all components of health, and Gandhiji was a strong believer in nature cure, Ayurveda, and practiced Ashtanga Yoga as well. His experiments with nature cure were always on himself. He advised his friends and disciples to follow these remedies and treated and cured 30,000 patients through nature cure. Very few people know that as a couple, Gandhiji and Kasturba Gandhi contributed immensely 123 years ago to public health emergencies, working as frontline workers and treating patients in the service of humanity. During the Second Anglo-Boer War from 1899 to 1902 and in the Zulu uprising of 1906 in South Africa, he established the Natal Indian Ambulance Corps along with 300 free Indians and 800 Indian indentured labor and served as stretcher bearer. In the bubonic plague outbreak in Johannesburg in 1904, he and Kasturba Gandhi rushed to help the Indian indentured labor, quarantined the patients in an empty godown after thoroughly cleaning and sanitizing it, and treated some of them through nature cure. Gandhiji and Kasturba Gandhi returned to India in 1915, and in 1918 there was an outbreak of Spanish influenza pandemic. So Gandhiji opened up his Sabarmati ashram as a quarantine center and treated and served patients through nature cure, provided simple vegetarian diet to boost immunity and maintain physical distancing. Both of them took care of the families of the patients, looked after their physical, mental, and spiritual needs, gave them correct information, and helped them in remaining positive through prayers, meditation, chanting of Ramanama, and taking care of each other during the time of the Spanish flu pandemic. Gandhiji had said on 10th November 1918 that our ancestors could build such tough bodies in the past. But today, we are reduced to a state of miserable weakness and are easily infected by noxious germs moving about in the air. There is one and only one really effective way by which we can save ourselves from them even in our present broken state of health. That way is the way of self-restraint and of imposing a limit on our acts, wants, and desires. In August 1942, Gandhiji wrote the book titled Key to Health, in which he wrote that anyone who observes the rules of health mentioned in this book will find that he has got in it a real key to unlock the gates leading him to health. He will not need to knock at the doors of doctors or vaidyas or the traditional health practitioners from day to day. Today, the world is facing three kinds of crises globally. First is the coronavirus COVID 19 pandemic. The second one is the serious and long drawn financial crisis. And the third one is the ecological crisis, which is impacting everyone. We have to look for answers somewhere within ourselves by learning from the life of Mahatma Gandhi, who had said, "My life is my message." The lesson the pandemic is teaching us is simple. When one member of the family falls sick, the entire family is affected, and soon the community is affected, and the nation is affected, and then other communities in other nations in this globalized world. The well being of one individual has an impact on people on the other side of the globe. This is true of every action of ours. What we eat, what we buy, what we think, and what we do has reverberations and repercussions on all life on earth. It is this anubandha, this interconnectedness that sustains all life on earth. We are all in this together as one human family, as brothers and sisters, whether we choose to see it or not. We only have one home, this planet Earth, our Mother Earth. The current COVID 19 pandemic is a wake up call for every country, big or small, rich or poor, developed or developing. It has opened our eyes to the fragility of the existence of humans. Our ancient sages and seers from India have always looked upon us as Vishwamanava, or the global citizens, and said that the world is one family, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Many lessons are very clear, and some are still unknown, surrounding us in uncertainty. This uncertainty is causing mental stress, anxiety, existential crisis, fear of extinction and death, and the mass psychology of living in depression and grief is pointing out towards this fact in the current pandemic. We are collectively grieving for the loss of our known lifestyle. When a crisis makes you feel stressed, meditation, prayers, chanting relieves the stress response. And when the stress keeps repeating itself without let up, the thinking mind reacts to all of these conditions. It always has, even in normal times, but a crisis brings stress into high relief, making it very capable of lowering the immune system and causing inflammatory diseases. Decades ago, stress was classified as epidemic of modern life. The Gandhian way of life is the best guide to practicing the coping mechanism that induces relaxation, calmness, inner peace, absence of anxiety, and remaining positive. So Gandhiji comes out as the greatest healer and the wellness guru who comes free of cost. Gandhian principles of freedom from fear and care for all is a perfect prescription in the times of COVID-19 pandemic. Gandhiji's emphasis on healthy lifestyle, empowerment for self-care and care in the community would make perfect sense. I once again take this opportunity to thank the Indian Mission for hosting the Gandhi Katha. My special thanks to all of you who have joined me online today. I will end with the Sanskrit shloka, which is the peace benediction for the universal welfare. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Let all be happy, let all be healthy, let all experience auspiciousness, let no one be overwhelmed by grief. Om, peace, peace, peace. With Gandhiji's blessings, who had said that peace is the only positive force which will lead us from darkness towards light, I will end the Gandhi Katha with the hymn or dhun Shubha Mangala Ho.